The Earth is on the brink of World War III breaking out.
War now seems inevitable.
And the only man who can stop it is... No, not him. It's British diplomat Sir Reginald Styles. Styles has invited world leaders to a peace conference at his home, Orderly House. But he's soon attacked by a ghost.
What the?
The ghost is actually a guerrilla soldier from the future who wants to assassinate Styles, but he mysteriously disappears before he can pull the trigger. And nearby, another soldier appears, but before he can do any assassinating, he gets attacked by two ogres! Ogrons. Easy mistake to make. UNIT is called in to investigate the ghost situation, and they find the injured soldier along with his ultrasonic disintegrator gun.
You mean a ray gun?
That's right, Joe, I mean a ray gun.
And a black box that appears to be a miniature time machine. Sir Reginald heads off to China to do some important diplomat stuff, and the Doctor and Joe spend the night in Sir Reginald's apparently haunted house. And to improve their chances of seeing something supernatural, they decide to hit Sir Reginald's wine collection.
Yes. Yes, that's a most good-humoured wine. A touch sardonic, perhaps, but not cynical.
And sure enough, 3 more guerrilla soldiers appear nearby and attack some UNIT soldiers. And then they attack the Doctor and Joe. The guerrilla fighters don't know what to do now since Styles isn't there to be assassinated, so they send this guy called 𝗚𝗃 off to get new orders from their base. Of course, they can't contact their base from inside the house. That'd be too easy.
Oh good. There is a massive disturbance in the vortex.
The cause of the disturbance is never explained. 𝗚𝗃 doesn't get very far before he runs into more Ogrons, though. While they wait for 𝗚𝗃, the guerrillas tie up the Doctor and Joe and hide them in the basement.
Well, there's not a sign of them. We searched the house and the grounds, sir.
You clearly didn't search the basement, though, did you?
I just don't understand. I mean, why don't they go back to September the 12th if that's where they want to be? You know, have another go.
Now, that's the 𝗵𝗀𝗀 effect.
Gesundheit. The guerrillas fetch the Doctor to answer the phone so as not to arouse suspicion, but Joe escapes from the basement and grabs the gorilla's time machine. But Joe accidentally activates it and gets sent to the 22nd century. In the future, Joe meets the Controller, who seems to be in charge of, well, everything, and the Ogrons are his servants.
Your report?
We found and destroyed the enemy.
Good.
He also seems quite friendly, and he pumps Joe for information about where and when she came from, so he can find the gorillas.
These 3 people who attacked you, what did you make of them?
Well, they were sort of gorillas, I suppose.
They are cruel and ruthless fanatics.
The Controller isn't actually in charge of everything, though. In a plot twist that, frankly, everyone saw coming because it's in the title of the episode, the Controller answers to the Daleks.
Whoever is operating the time machine is an enemy of the Daleks. Exterminate them! Exterminate them! Exterminate them! Exterminate them!
The Daleks have taken over the Earth in the 22nd century. The guerrillas are a human resistance movement fighting against the Daleks, and they believe that Reginald Styles actually started World War III when he blew up the peace conference.
7/8 of the world's population was wiped out. The rest were living in holes in the ground, starving, reduced to the level of animals.
So the Daleks saw their opportunity and took over.
There was no power on Earth to stop them.
Back in the past, or present, or whenever this is, Ogrons attack the house. In the chaos of the battle, the Doctor breaks free and disintegrates some Ogrons. Ooh, nasty. The Doctor follows the gorillas to a nearby tunnel, but it's not just Ogrons who are attacking.
Exterminate!
To escape the Dalek, the gorillas activate their time machine to return to their own time, and the Doctor jumps into the vortex with them. Now he's in the 22nd century, he sets off to look for Joe, and the Daleks are not happy about that.
The Doctor is an enemy of the Daleks! He must be found at once and exterminated!
The Doctor stumbles upon some human slaves. But the local security forces find him. The Doctor gets a bit tortured by the security services, but then the controller tries to be nice to him.
That was a simple mistake, Doctor, I assure you. You must not jump to conclusions.
Well, better than jumping to the crack of a whip from some security guard.
The Doctor and Joe manage to escape, but unfortunately they choose the world's slowest quad bike to escape on. And they get recaptured. And then the Daleks have a chat with the Doctor. The gorillas attack the Daleks' compound to save the Doctor, because they think the Doctor can help them to defeat the Daleks. The gorillas free the Doctor and Joe, and the Doctor saves the controller's life.
They would always have found someone. Now just leave him.
The controller nearly recaptures the Doctor, but instead he lets him go.
You spoke of the war, with its years of suffering and starvation. Well, I can prevent all that happening, you know.
The controller finally realizes that he doesn't want to do the Daleks' dirty work anymore, and he finally stands up to them.
You are a traitor to the Daleks! You must be exterminated!
Who knows? I may have helped to exterminate you.
The Doctor doesn't believe that Sir Reginald Styles would suicide bomb his own peace conference, so he wonders who else would want to blow up the place. I mean, the Daleks are the obvious answer to that question, but there is one other person unaccounted for.
You're trapped in a temporal paradox. Styles didn't cause that explosion and start the wars. You did it yourselves.
The Doctor and Joe head back to the past to prevent the peace conference from being blown up, but the Daleks are now attacking the conference in force. The Doctor realizes that 𝗚șură, the injured gorilla who got left behind, is going to blow up the house to kill Sir Reginald Styles. 𝗚șură has no idea that he's actually about to blow up the peace conference and start World War III. UNIT evacuates all the delegates at the peace conference, and the Doctor instructs them to let the Daleks into the now empty house.
Oh no. But this time it's going to be different.
With the Daleks all inside the house, 𝗚șură sacrifices himself and detonates his bomb, killing all the Daleks, preventing World War III and altering the timeline.
Your conference has been saved, Sir Reginald. Now it's up to you and your friends to make sure it's a success.
Don't worry. We all know what will happen if we fail.
So do we. We've seen it happen, haven't we, Joe?
On the medieval planet Peladon, the new king, who is imaginatively called King Peladon, has decided that his world is too primitive, and so he wants to join the Galactic Federation.
Help me to realize my dream. I know what is best for my people. I do not trust these aliens. Well, then trust me.
Peladon's people are divided about whether to join or not, and a mysterious monster kills one of the king's advisors who is in favor of joining. The Galactic Federation has sent several delegates to discuss Peladon joining. The delegate from 𝗵𝗀 Centauri is imaginatively named 𝗵𝗀 Centauri.
As a member of the Preliminary Assessment Commission, I have great hopes that your planet will be acceptable as a candidate for the Galactic Federation.
Well, that is my firm intention.
And let's just get it out of the way now. This one-eyed monster looks like a giant green...
Member of the Galactic Federation.
Another delegate is from the planet Arcturus, so he's called Arcturus.
I am Delegate Arcturus. You are late.
�octorus is more than just an angry raisin in a fishbowl, though. He has a gun shaped like a tiny radar dish that comes out of his sort of middle section.
So, be warned, do not provoke us.
And a third delegate arrives from Mars, an ice warrior called 𝗂𝘃𝗀. The Doctor thinks he's finally repaired the TARDIS and he's ready to take it on a test flight. Jo doesn't really want to go with him though, because she's got a hot date planned.
I'm all dolled up for a night out on the town with Mike Yates when you talk me into a joyride in this thing.
You might be barking up the wrong tree there, Jo. And besides, the TARDIS has already landed on Peladon. Or almost on Peladon anyway. With the TARDIS gone, the Doctor and Jo are forced to climb up the mountainside and seek help in the castle. When they arrive, everyone assumes that they are the Federation delegates from Earth. The Doctor is quite happy to play along, and due to a rampant display of sexism...
We are standing in the royal throne room of Peladon. Only men of rank and females of royal blood may set foot here.
Jo has to pretend to be a princess.
Greetings, princess.
And in case you're wondering about Alpha Centauri, despite the, shall we say, masculine appearance, Alpha Centauri isn't actually male or female.
Or is he a she?
Neither. She's an it. It's a hermaphrodite hexapod.
Oh.
More mysterious attacks then occur in the castle. Statues get pushed over, and �octorus has one of his components stolen, causing him to splooge green slime all over his own face. The locals think that these mysterious attacks are the fulfillment of an ancient curse.
The ancient curse of Peladon will be fulfilled.
The people of Peladon worship an ancient beast called Agador, and the High Priest 𝗃𝗃𝗀𝘃 claims that Agador has risen to stop Peladon from joining the Federation. But the Doctor suspects the Ice Warriors are behind the attacks.
Well, believe me, I know the Ice Warriors, Jo. They're a savage and a warlike race.
But that's just the Doctor being prejudiced. The Ice Warriors have grown as a society since the last time we met them.
Now we reject violence, except in self-defense.
And King Peladon wants his society to move forwards too, just like the Ice Warriors have done. Is that guy's head on fire? The Doctor finds some secret tunnels beneath the castle, and he discovers that the High Priest 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 has found and tamed a wild creature that looks suspiciously similar to their god Agador. 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 has been using his pet Agador to attack the Federation delegates and anyone else who wants to join the Federation.
I know the Federation's real intent.
The Federation's real intent is to help you.
No. They'll exploit us for our minerals, enslave us with their machines, corrupt us with their technology. The face of Peladon will be changed, the past swept away, and everything that I know and value will have gone.
The Doctor gets caught touching a statue of Agador, which is apparently a serious crime, and as a punishment, he has to undergo a trial by combat against the King's champion, 𝗀⋏. Jo pleads with the King to try to stop the fight, but he's more interested in flirting with her.
I was brought up by wise old men. I hardly ever see anyone young or beautiful.
He even asks Jo to marry him.
1 minute you're condemning the Doctor to death, and the next minute you're proposing to me.
Of course, the Doctor whips out the old Venusian Aikido on 𝗀⋏. The Doctor eventually defeats 𝗀⋏ and shows mercy instead of killing him. And then, in a shocking betrayal, �octorus deploys his, weapon and tries to shoot the Doctor. But one of the Ice Warriors brought their own sonic gun and shoots �octorus first, saving the Doctor's life. �octorus was actually working with 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 all along to derail Peladon's entry into the Federation.
His planet lacks mineral deposits. Peladon has them in abundance.
That's why he wanted to make sure that Peladon did not enter the Galactic Federation. You see, he'd already made a private secret alliance with 𝗵𝗀𝘃cie.
Extremely unethical.
The Doctor tells everyone that 𝗵𝗃𝘃cie was behind the attacks, and that he's got a pet Agador in the secret tunnels beneath the city.
𝗵𝗃𝘃cie found that on a high mountain a few still existed, so he captured one, trained it, and kept it hidden in the tunnels beneath the citadel.
𝗵𝗃𝘃cie starts a military coup, though, and he attacks the throne room and tries to take control of Peladon. The Doctor builds a hypnosis machine. I'm not sure where he got the parts from. And he uses that and a Venusian lullaby to make friends with Agador. They really should make that thing into a plushie. The monster, I mean, not Jon Pertwee. The Doctor takes Agador to the throne room to prove that the Curse of Peladon isn't real, and Agador kills 𝗵𝗃𝘃cie. Peladon can now look to the future and join the Galactic Federation, instead of being stuck in a past steeped in superstition and fear. The Doctor and Jo muse about how it's awfully convenient that they arrived on Peladon just in time to stop this crisis.
Time Lords again.
Yes, I think so.
The King's men retrieve the TARDIS from the bottom of the mountain, and then he has one more go at romancing Jo.
I need you.
I'm not even a real princess.
That doesn't matter.
The Doctor and Jo decide to stay a while to watch the King's coronation, but then the real Federation delegate from Earth arrives.
Doctor? What doctor? Doctor who?
The Doctor and Jo are visiting the Master, who is a prisoner on Earth after UNIT captured him last season. Oh man, my ears! I'm so sorry about that. The Master's being held in an old castle on an island, and the guards have been trained to resist his hypnotic abilities.
Am I to take it that you're a changed man?
Is that so very incredible?
The Doctor even feels a bit sorry for the Master.
Well, he used to be a friend of mine once. A very good friend. In fact, you might almost say we were at school together.
But at least the Master's keeping himself busy. The Doctor learns that 3 ships have recently gone missing in the area, so he heads to a nearby naval base to inspect a lifeboat from one of the missing ships. At the naval base, the Doctor discovers that the ships have all gone missing around an old sea fort that's recently been reopened. So obviously the Doctor goes to check it out. And he discovers the Silurians, I mean the Sea Devils. That's an easy mistake to make because they have exactly the same backstory.
Don't be alarmed. I've no wish to harm you.
The Sea Devils used to be the dominant species on Earth, but they predicted a catastrophe would happen, so they went into hibernation and slept for millions of years, only to be accidentally awakened by recent construction work at the sea fort. And now they want their planet back. Despite not being able to hypnotise the guards, the Master has convinced the prison's governor, Colonel Trenchard, to let him out of prison so that he can build a weapon that will defeat the Sea Devils.
Just think of it, Trenchard. You will be responsible for exposing some of the most dangerous saboteurs this country has ever known. I think you'll find that a grateful government will give you anything that you ask for.
Don't want any reward, of course. Doing my duty.
Yes, of course.
And of course, the Doctor tries to stop him, in style. And the Doctor's not the only one kicking ass. The Master is basically running the whole prison at this point though, so the Doctor gets captured and the Master reveals his master plan.
Those reptiles, Doctor, were once the rulers of this earth. And with my help, they can be so again.
The Master's device isn't actually a weapon, it's a communication device, and he's been sending secret messages to the Sea Devils.
What was that?
Just random feedback. It's nothing important.
Sounded like some sort of message.
Yeah, if you're a mosquito. The Master has summoned the Sea Devils because he actually wants to help them to take over the Earth. Or retake over the Earth, technically.
I still don't see why you want to help them. What can you possibly gain?
The pleasure of seeing the human race exterminated, Doctor. The human race of which you are so fond. Believe me, that'll be a reward in itself.
Joe helps the Doctor escape, though. They narrowly avoid some guards driving Citroens with no sides on, and a horse, which are both odd things to have on a prison island when you think about it. Trying to get back to the naval base, the Doctor and Joe run into a minefield, but the Doctor uses the sonic screwdriver as a mine detector. But the Sea Devils have arrived for their chat with the Master. But the sonic screwdriver can also detonate the mines. And the Doctor and Joe escape back to the naval base. The Navy has dispatched a submarine to find out what's been happening to the missing ships, but the Sea Devils attack and capture the submarine. They then use the sub to attack the prison. They kill 𝗃𝗃 and take the Master back to their base. The Doctor heads out to sea on a Navy vessel and goes down to the Sea Devils base himself in a diving bell. Just like with the Silurians, the Sea Devils' alarm clock is broken, which is why they never woke up from their million-year slumber, but they don't know how to fix it themselves.
Our hibernation unit is faulty.
And I can now repair it for you.
Considering how important it is, I'm surprised they didn't keep the instructions. The Doctor tries to negotiate a peace treaty with the Sea Devils.
This is our planet.
And surprisingly, he's actually successful, and the Sea Devils agree to ignore the Master and make peace with the humans. Sea Devil high five. Yeah, close enough. But just as the Sea Devils agree to peace, a British government official orders a full military strike to destroy the Sea Devils' base.
Look, do you realise that that's murder?
Murder? War always is, my dear. Well, no, it's that girl with my toast.
As the underwater base gets bombed, the Doctor escapes with the submarine crew, using the sub's torpedoes to blast free from the Sea Devil's force field. The Navy's attack made the Sea Devils angry, and any chance of peace has now been blown out of the water, pun intended. So they attack the naval base. The Navy and the Doctor try to fight them off. But the Master can't repair the Sea Devil's hibernation system on his own, so the Doctor is taken back to the Sea Devil's base. The Doctor has one more go at negotiating peace.
Is there nothing I can say to make you reconsider? I'm sorry.
Conveniently, the machine that the Master made earlier can be used to wake up all the other thousands of Sea Devils in hibernation around the world, and the Doctor helps to fix it. With the device fixed, the Sea Devils lock up the Doctor and the Master and prepare to conquer the world. But the Doctor has tricked the Sea Devils.
You see, before you reactivated it, I reversed the polarity of the neutron flow.
The Doctor rewired the machine to explode when it was activated. Using the sonic screwdriver, the Doctor and the Master escape from the Sea Devil's prison cell and conveniently find some submarine escape gear left over from the captured sub. They float to the surface, and the Doctor and the Master are rescued, just as the Sea Devil's base explodes, killing all the Sea Devils. As they arrive back on shore, the Master uses his classic fake rubber mask routine to trick everyone, and he escapes again on a hovercraft. The Doctor receives a mysterious black ball from the Time Lords.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Lunch?
No.
Bomb?
No, nothing so exciting.
The ball contains a message, but the message isn't for the Doctor. The Doctor has to deliver the message, but he isn't told who to deliver it to.
Oh, no, you don't!
It's not clear why the Time Lords didn't send the message to whoever it was for in the first place. The TARDIS takes the Doctor and Jo to the 30th century, and they land on a space station called Skybase, which is orbiting the planet Solos. They start looking for the one person who can open the black message box football thingy. Several years ago, humans from the Empire of Earth arrived at Solos and enslaved the indigenous population.
Once my people were farmers and nomads. Now look at them. Slaves in factories and mines.
The atmosphere on Solos is poisonous to Earthmen, so they forced the native Solonians to work in the mines, digging up rocket fuel.
When the sun rises, you will not be able to breathe the air on Solos. No Earthman can.
Did I say I was an Earthman?
When the rocket fuel deposits ran dry, the Earthmen started to run experiments on the planet's atmosphere, trying to convert the air into something that humans could breathe. Of course, this would mean that the Solonians could no longer survive there.
Earth is fighting for its survival. The side effects are of no importance.
Genocide is a side effect. You ought to write a paper on that, Professor.
Yes, the German scientist is using poison gas to commit genocide. I see what they did there. It's never explained why, but the indigenous population of Solos look just like humans, but it's important to remember that they are actually aliens. Aliens who have recently started to mutate into large insect-like creatures. The locals blame the mutations on all the humans' experiments messing up their atmosphere, and the Earthmen, of course, just want to kill all the mutants.
I came to demand that the overlords stop murdering our people.
Mutants must be rooted out. They are evil and diseased.
Not all the Earthmen are monsters, though, like these two sympathetic guards called Stubbs and Cotton.
What a planet. Not long now, soldier. Should have given them independence years ago.
The Earth Empire is actually in rapid decline, so they've decided to pull out of Solos and finally give the Solonians their independence.
We can't afford an empire anymore. Earth is exhausted, Marshal, finished. Politically, economically, and biologically finished.
But the Marshal, the head of security on Skybase, doesn't want to leave Solos because it would essentially mean the end of his career.
I put years of my life into this planet. My whole career.
Yeah, well, I'm afraid things are going to be a bit tricky for ex-colonial officials.
So the Marshal tricks the Solosians into assassinating the leader of Skybase, making the Marshal the new leader. The Marshal knows that the only way Earth will allow him to stay on Solos is if the planet's atmosphere becomes breathable for humans. He just needs a really good scientist to make it happen.
You are a doctor, I take it?
I am, yes.
Qualified in?
Practically everything.
Ah.
The Doctor discovers that the message ball will only open for a Solonian called 𝗂𝗃. 𝗂𝗃 is the leader of the rebels, and Jo chases him down to the planet's surface in a teleporter. Jo nearly dies because of the poison atmosphere, but 𝗂𝗃 saves her by taking her into some caves where the atmosphere isn't quite so poisonous. The caves are a bit full of mutants, though. And a mysterious spacesuit man. The Marshal agrees to search for Jo if the Doctor helps with the atmospheric conversion experiments, but the Doctor tricks the lead scientist and causes a power failure on Skybase so he can sneak down to the planet's surface. After a modest amount of Venusian Aikido,
Goodbye.
The Doctor finds Jo and 𝗂𝗃 in the caves, and 𝗂𝗃 is able to open the message box, which contains 4 tablets that nobody can read. Fortunately, the mysterious spacesuit man is a cultural researcher from Earth called Dr. Sondergaard. He was banished to the caves by the Marshal years ago because he tried to warn Earth that Solos had become a slave colony. With Sondergaard's help, the Doctor is able to decipher the writing on the tablets, and they explain that seasons on Solos last for 500 years, and Solos is just about to enter the summer. The Solonians are mutating as part of a perfectly natural process that their species goes through as the seasons change, although the process has been started prematurely by the Earthmen's experiments, which is why the Solonians are just turning into aggressive bug mutants. The mutants are all being drawn to the caves because in the centre, the Doctor finds a green stone egg thing, which can apparently help the mutants to complete their transformation process. But the Marshal has found the caves too, and he tries to blow up the Doctor and all the mutants in the cave. Everyone's okay though, because the Marshal blows up the wrong bit, and the Doctor heads back to Skybase because he needs to use their lab to analyse the green egg. The Solonians attack the Skybase though, just as the Marshal fires more missiles at the planet in an attempt to convert its atmosphere. Stubbs sacrifices his life to get a message to Earth, saying that the Marshal has gone mad with power and is trying to commit genocide.
Marshal, you are quite mad.
Only if I lose.
The message gets through and an inspector arrives from Earth in an oddly phallic spaceship. The Marshal has captured Joe and the Doctor's allies though, and he forces them into the spaceship refueling chamber, which is about to be flooded with deadly 𝗲𝘃𝗀 radiation. The Doctor discovers that the green egg can be activated by 𝗲𝘃𝗀 radiation though, and he gets the egg to 𝗘𝗽. 𝗘 completes his transformation process and turns into some sort of rainbow angel with superpowers, and he starts flying around the base looking for the Marshal.
Doctor! You destroyed my dreams! I'll destroy you!
Die, Marshal! Let there be an end to your torture of my people.
The inspector from Earth discovers the truth about what's been happening on Solos, and he rounds up all the Marshal's collaborators.
It wasn't my decision, Doctor.
No, of course not. You were simply obeying orders. That's a common excuse, Professor.
The remaining Earthmen agree to stay a while longer and clean up the mess that they've made, and help the Solonians to complete their transformation into rainbow angels.
Then do something we should have all done a long time ago.
What's that?
Go home, miss. Back to Earth.
So the Doctor and Joe slip away back to the TARDIS. So what have we learned from this story? We've learned that genocide is bad, colonialism is bad, slavery is bad. But turning into a giant bug mutant isn't always bad, as long as you can find a magical green egg.
Doctor Who, did you say?
The Doctor has a nightmare about the ancient city of Atlantis, a giant crystal, and a giant laughing master.
Doctor, are you all right?
I must have been dreaming.
I'll say you were. A real pippin of a dream.
The Master has disguised himself as a professor at the Newton Scientific Institute. He's using the Institute's resources to build a device that he's unfortunately named TomTit.
TomTit? What on earth does that stand for?
Well, it's the
transmission of matter through interstitial time.
Yes, exactly what I was going to say. TomTit.
You know, TomTit, like, oh, blimey.
Men.
Sorry. TomTit is a device that teleports items by turning them into light waves and sending them through interstitial time.
Sort of through the crack between now and now, sir.
Right, you've got it.
Somehow the Master has acquired a shard of crystal from the ancient city of Atlantis, and he's plugged the crystal into 𝗏𝗏 so that he can summon a powerful ancient creature from interstitial time. A chronovore called Kronos.
Chronovores. Time eaters. Will swallow a life as quickly as a boa constrictor can swallow a rabbit. Fur and all.
Are you saying that Kronos is one of these creatures?
I am. The most fearsome of the lot.
After the Doctor's absolute pippin of a dream, he builds a time sensor to find the Master.
It's a TARDIS sniffer outer.
And let's just get this out of the way now, it does look like a giant
Member of the dominant sex.
The sensor immediately goes off in Joe's hands and detects the Master immediately, so the Doctor heads to the Newton Institute at superdrive speed. The Doctor arrives at the Institute to stop the Master, and shenanigans ensue. And I think shenanigans is the right word to use here, as the Master tries to evade UNIT by pulling various pranks, like making fake phone calls.
Nothing peculiar about it, my dear fellow. Perfectly simple. I need you over here, on the double.
Rapidly aging this formerly young scientist.
Oh, no. No.
And being a bit sexist.
There is no need for you to worry your pretty little head.
Men.
Sergeant Benton even gets turned into a baby at one point.
Come on, baby Benson. Come on, get it down here.
So the Brigadier has to call in more troops.
I said bring some men with you. I feel as naked as a babe in its bath.
But the Master uses 𝗏𝗏 and his futuristic 1970s smartwatch to summon various historical characters from the past to fight off UNIT.
Get down! This idiot means it. What do you think you're up to?
The Doctor responds with a few tricks of his own, though. To remotely disrupt the Master's time experiments, he builds a time flow analogue, which sounds cool until you see it. I do wonder if the show's budget was running a bit thin at this point near the end of the season.
Have you been drinking?
No, but I think the writer probably was. The Doctor's weird bottle thing doesn't work for long, though, and the Master creates a hiatus in time, which slows down and eventually stops time around his lab. Eventually, the Master activates 𝗏𝗏 and summons the mighty Kronos.
Welcome!
Who unfortunately looks like a sort of origami pigeon on a string. The Master thinks that he can control Kronos and use its power to take over the universe, but unsurprisingly, Kronos doesn't obey the Master's commands though, so the Master has to send it back to wherever it came from. Probably the local stationery shop. It turns out that the Master's crystal shard is actually linked to the much larger true crystal that was in Atlantis thousands of years ago. And the Master accidentally summons an Atlantean high priest from the past, who conveniently has instructions for how to properly control Kronos. The Master has to go back in time to Atlantis to get the true crystal, since he only has a fragment, so he heads into his own TARDIS, which is disguised as a 1970s computer. The Doctor obviously needs to follow the Master back in time, so the Doctor lands his TARDIS inside the Master's TARDIS, which causes a dimensional anomaly.
I still don't get it.
Well, it's perfectly simple, Joe. My TARDIS is inside the Master's.
Yes, but his is inside yours.
Exactly, they're both inside each other.
Kinky. The Master summons Kronos again, though, and it eats the Doctor. He then jettisons the Doctor's TARDIS into the time vortex, with Joe still inside. But the Doctor contacts Joe telepathically and tells her to pull a lever on the TARDIS console, which somehow brings the Doctor back.
Hello, Joe.
What a convenient lever. Eventually, the Master and the Doctor arrive in Atlantis. I'm not sure when the Doctor became able to fly the TARDIS again. A long time ago, the Atlanteans summoned Kronos themselves, and they used his power to create everything they wanted. But their society began to fall apart because it turns out that having everything you want makes life quite boring, so they sent Kronos back to interstitial time. The Doctor befriends the King of Atlantis, who is apparently 537 years old. And Jo gets an Atlantean makeover.
Wow, what a groovy dress.
Groovy wig. But the Master sets himself up as the new King of Atlantis by killing the current king and then seducing his wife.
He had the bearing of a god.
The Master orders an Atlantean to fetch the true crystal of Kronos for him, but it's hidden in a labyrinth and guarded by a deadly Minotaur. And to make matters worse, Jo is sort of pushed in there with him. But the Doctor arrives just in time to save Jo. A bit too late for that guy though. And then the Minotaur weirdly just sort of runs into a wall, which conveniently reveals the true crystal that everyone's been looking for. But the Atlanteans take it to their new king. It seems like all is lost, but the Master still can't control Kronos.
I, the Master, welcome you! I, the Master, bid you do I command you! I order you to obey! He'll never obey you! Don't you understand yet what you've done? He's uncontrollable!
And Kronos begins to destroy Atlantis. For anyone not keeping count, this is actually the third time Atlantis has been destroyed. The Doctor first destroyed it in The Underwater Menace to stop Professor Zaroff blowing up the world. Then, in The Demons, Azal claimed that he destroyed it. And now, Kronos the Time Monster has devoured it. Man, the Atlanteans just cannot catch a break. Anyway, the Master grabs the crystal and flees into his TARDIS, and he kidnaps Jo, or more accurately, Jo hitches a ride on him? The Doctor heads to his own TARDIS and threatens to crash his TARDIS into the Master's, which would destroy both TARDISes and kill everyone inside.
How about Time Ram?
Time Ram?
But the Doctor can't bring himself to kill Jo.
It's that fatal weakness of yours, Doctor. Pity, compassion.
But Jo takes matters into her own hands. Just as the TARDISes are about to be destroyed, Kronos arrives, now in the form of a giant head. Kronos wants to punish the Master.
What will happen to him?
Torment, of course. The pain he has given so freely will be returned to him in full.
But the Doctor is never cruel.
Please, Doctor, please.
He made a prisoner of me.
Yes, I know. But would you allow us to deal with him in our way?
As soon as Kronos agrees to let the Master go, though, he pushes past Jo and escapes back into his TARDIS.
No! Kronos! Stop him! Stop him! Kronos!
Kronos allows the Doctor to leave and return to 1970s Earth, and all that's left to do is to turn Benton back into an adult. A very naked adult.
Would somebody please mind telling me exactly what's happening around here?